President Trump says he and Colombian President Gustavo Petro got along great while they met at the White House today. Joining me now to discuss the latest developments is former CIA station chief in Caracas, Venezuela, Rick de la Torre. Rick, it's great to have you on today. What does today's meeting between Trump and Petro signal about the future direction of U.S.-Latin America relations?
Well, this is simply an effort by Petro to try to hit a reset button with this administration. Since the beginning, since Trump's reelection, Gustavo Petro has just done a really poor job of representing Colombian interests and has really been solely responsible for ruining the relationship with one of America's greatest allies in this hemisphere. Colombia and U.S. relations date back well over 200 some odd years. And ever since Plan Colombia and all the money and energy and relationship that we have built over the decades, that's all been basically reversed by Petro in a very short period of time he's been in office.
Now, the two were believed to have talked about Venezuela, drug trafficking, oil, and U.S. strikes on drug vessels. Realistically, Rick, how much leverage do governments like Colombia have over cartel networks that operate across borders and beyond state control?
Right. So certainly the Colombians do. And that is, first of all, striking a good partnership with American intelligence and American military forces that are there to cooperate and work with the Colombian military and police on stopping the narco-terrorists. Sadly, though, Gustavo Petro, over the last couple of years, has really dialed down that support, has tried to pursue a policy of appeasement. And what you've seen, though, is that doesn't really work. Instead, what's happened is those groups, those narco-terrorists, have actually taken advantage of that, and they've set up shop, and they've been able to increase their production, distribution, and really work in such a way without much oversight from the Colombian authorities. So that's one of the reasons. If he were to decide to actually get serious about it, then we'd see some significant improvement, not just in the relationship, but in actual drugs, coming into the United States. We'd see that decline. The good news is for the Colombia-U.S. relationship is that Petro will be out of office in just a matter of a few months. And I think most Americans that deal with Colombia issues and most Colombians, they'll want to see a return to a much more friendlier relationship across our countries.
Now, in the past, Trump and Petro have publicly criticized one another. Against that backdrop, how is the United States currently perceived across Latin America? From Washington's perspective, what is truly in the U.S.'s strategic interest here?
Well, as a matter of perception, I think only one needs to look at the elections over the past year or so, where we've seen a significant swing from these ultra left-wing parties, Marxist-aligned organizations that have been supported in the past by narco-terrorists, like people like Maduro in Venezuela, funded primarily also by the Chinese Communist Party, providing funds and money to some of these regimes to bolster their economics. All that stuff is being swept away now. We're seeing a return of more center-focused, center-right focused politics, where they encourage capitalism, they encourage basic human liberties and freedom, and a closer relationship with the United States. So that right there is a great example of that perception of how we're viewed. In regards to Petro himself, I think his ideology is on its way out the door. And hopefully that will continue with other places like Nicaragua and Cuba. And we may be looking, in the not too far future, we may be looking at a hemisphere that doesn't have this kind of Marxist, Maoist type of influence in it.
Certainly, I think that's what the president is pushing for with his actions recently. As the United States seeks to counteract adversaries, what kind of long-term relationship does it ultimately want with its neighbors in Latin America? One defined by security cooperation, economic partnership, or do you think it's something else?
Well, it's certainly based on that, but it could be so much more, right? Sadly, what we've seen is many of the countries in Latin America for a long period of time were being funded by both Cuban intelligence, by the Venezuelan regime, and others to continue down this Marxist path. Then immediately focus, once they would get into office, then immediately focus on building stronger relationships with America's adversaries like China and Russia and Iran too. Venezuela really was the one as the best example. It rolled out a red carpet to Hamas and Hezbollah and IRGC and MOIS and just about every state actor available to them. So from a national security standpoint, we can't continue to have that play. Right now, on the border between Venezuela and Colombia, there are a number of Marxist-backed guerrillas. These are the ones that deal every day with the drugs and the violence. Colombia has done a poor job in actually trying to either arrest or destroy these groups. And now, many have the concern that with Venezuela no longer being a favorable place to set up camp, that many of them might actually reach back into Colombia. But again, luckily Petro's days are numbered. The Colombian institutions and democratic roots are strong, and hopefully they'll have a better opportunity to elect someone who's a little bit more aligned with the rest of the world.
All right, we'll see how this develops. Thank you so much, Rick, for your time and sharing your insights with us. We appreciate it.